Okay. Part four. Sorry, that this is split up so much. Yeah. This is going to be cards that are Prism cards, quote unquote, because they're all Light Illusionist cards, but that aren't necessarily seen that often. Come on, bud. Come here. Um, so these aren't like commonly put in the deck. They don't make it all the time, if at all. Um, but they're things that are still kind of on my radar as useful pieces that do something kind of unique for the deck, at least, that I need to keep looking at to make sure that they're still in that kind of spot. So, like Invoke Suraya from Dynasty, the first angel that we got, the first angel ally. It's a really weird card. It's legendary keyworded on the invocation side. It's a light illusionist yellow 3 block, which is all fantastic. That being said, and it's also an angel that doesn't need a card in soul, which is inherently worth something. It lets you develop 3 angels on a turn cycle, which is really powerful. It's a 4/4, same as the others. You can banish a light card from soul and deal 1 arcane as the ability. And then it has lifelink, effectively. This is whenever Shreya deals damage, you gain that much health. This text is not hugely relevant. It's not as relevant as I would like it to be, just because Shreya doesn't work so great in the aggro matchups where this kind of value would be at its best. And then that life gain isn't as useful in the aura matchups where I would really like to have another angel. So it being another angel is for sure relevant, but the lifelink isn't a huge upside in reality. The ability is not a good use of cards in soul for this deck. I think it's usually not worth the effort. Now, numerically, it's like fine. So it costs 2 to play the invocation. So and you have to play it on a spectral shield. This is the piece that like really gets me. Is just having a spectral shield out is not always super easy. So it it ends up just a little more clunky than I would like most of the time. On top of it being a legendary keyword card, which it probably should. It'd probably be very, very good if it might be a problem if this was not legendary keyworded. Now, like just the value play of it is like totally fine. Where if you play it, that's a card for the invocation. You pitch 2 to play it. That's the second card to pay that cost. And the third card to attack with it is you're getting essentially a 3 card 12 -1 spectral shield, so 3 card 11, which is fine. And it can be kind of sticky, and it's 4 of it is on hit. So 4 damage presented, 4 life link, 4 life gained potentially, plus ward 4. And then -1 ward from the spectral shield going away. So like the math on it is fine, but it's just having that spectral shield out is not something we can ever guarantee. And we have better uses for the spectral shields at the moment. In all honesty, we want those spectral shields around. We're not trying to really upgrade them into ward 4. I'd rather just send another herald, like most of the time. That being said, having an angel in the deck in the aura matchups that we can play from hand and potentially develop 3 angels on a turn is really good. It is really good. I think Herald of Sechem supplants this a little bit just because we don't need a spectral shield for it. We guarantee get the Figment out. It still presents 9 damage. All of these things kind of line up. It's just kind of different, but like legendary keyword. It messes with the consistency of this card a lot. And it really is what does this card in, where it doesn't quite make it. Even though the numbers on it aren't bad, they're just not reliable. And the floor on it is fine. Light yellow, illusionist, 3 block. The floor on it's fine. So if you want to run it, you can. You pretty much have to run it with Calming Gesture in a matchup where you're willing to break Calming Gesture, of which there are very few at the moment, in my mind. So Calming Gesture does make it easier, but I don't want to be breaking Calming Gesture in most of the matchups where I'm bringing it, because it's either my Arcane Barrier or it's a Spectral Shield on demand to stop Afflict Knives. So, Invoke Shrine not quite making it. Now, it does have a funny interaction with Warcry. Warcry of Themis reads gives off a very similar vibe to Invoke Suraya of the numbers should just be really good on this card. The numbers are really good on this card. It is a 0-cost action with Go Again that gives your next angel attack +4, and it's a light illusionist 3 yellow 3-block. Those numbers should be insane. This card should be nuts. Why is this card not in the deck always, forever? And that's not enough. That's not enough. It doesn't do enough for the deck. It just it's a good card. The floor on this card is phenomenal. Ignoring the wind up effect, the discard effect. Like, the floor on this card is great, but you need to have an angel out for it to be good. You need to, which means the deck is already doing the thing, which is already good enough. So why do we need to introduce another layer? The best use for this card now, it's very good as you go into angel matchups, it's not, or aura matchups, excuse me, because it's kind of 4 unblockable because they still have to clear your angel. So you just get to swing with an angel for 8 that they kind of can't do anything about. And then if you can Figment of Rebirth it back and do it again, then that's pretty good. 4 burn is pretty good. But I'd rather set up more pieces and threaten more heralds, especially right now where there isn't a ton of Guardian, and this could change. We could definitely see a shift in the deck where we bring in Invoke Suraya and Warcry. But I don't think it's quite there yet. We'll see when Guardian Mastery Pack and Super Slam come out. But I think it's just not quite there. It is very funny with Invoke Suraya because you get double value on this because Invoke Suraya swinging for 8 is threatening to gain 8. And that's one of the things that I looked at when Warcry was revealed is this interaction is pretty powerful. We're dealing with, if you have Warcry and Invoke Suraya together, one of them has to be an arsenal because it's a 5-card play. But you can, if you have 1 card in Soul as well, you can Halo and fetch Aegis. You fetch Aegis, makes a Spectral Shield, you play Invoke Suraya, and then you can Warcry, swing Invoke Suraya, and then you can swing Awaken Aegis and swing Aegis and make 2 more Spectral Shields there. You can end up with, it's 8 + 4, 12 damage presented, 8 life gain threatened, and another 10 ward on the board. So it's a 5-card 30, including your Halo, which is good. That is a powerful play, but again, Invoke Suraya is legendary keyworded. If Invoke Suraya was not legendary keyword, then I think this is actually just a package that ends up in the deck with 3 Warcries and 3 Invoke Suraya just because it's so annoying for big decks to deal with. It's just a full tempo play that is basically guaranteed because they can't take it. They can't let you gain 8. They just go backwards and you get in so much more time to set up at that point. The card isn't bad. It shouldn't be bad. The numbers on it are good. But it's just, it doesn't do what the deck needs. So then the question becomes, how good is the wind-up effect? How good is that discard? Discard it, banish X cards from Soul, turn X target cards in a banish zone face down. Note, this does say target cards, so you have to declare them. You have to declare those as part of putting the ability on the stack. So if it's stuff like Cull, they can respond, which is different from Figment of Judgment. But this is a useful ability if Vinset becomes super meta. Especially now that we have Herald of Sekhem, we have a decent amount of guaranteed soul generation between Merciful Retribution, Soul Shield, and Sekhem that we can probably make Themis work where it's going to start eating full attacks. And it's Halo for Judgment on demand, but it's not really. It's just extras that we have to draw into. It's a little inconsistent for me in that case. Katsu would be kind of the other spot where I would consider this, but I don't think we need it for Katsu. I think we're better off just trying to pressure Katsu, take cards from his hand consistently so that the turns that he can present are much smaller. So The windup is good. It's just a little more situational, and half the time, I'm much more likely to put Herald of Judgment in my deck than I am Cry of Themis. If I'm looking for that Banish Zone interaction, I'm going to put Herald of Judgment in my deck before I put Warcry in. Warcry would be 4 through 6 for that effect. Um, but like, God, it's so weird when like most decks would just kill for a 0 for 4 3 block go again at yellow. It's the numbers on this card just like drive me crazy. It's wild. The discard, like, it really isn't free. Like, taking a card from Soul is a very real cost for this wind up effect. Because, like, if you draw this and you don't have a card in Soul, like, I guess you can Halo, but it's just like it feels it's a little inconsistent. It's a little less consistent than I would like for that effect. So it doesn't usually make the cut, especially right now with like Vincent super low. Katsu's seen a little bit more traction, but not like a ton to where I'm worried about it. Still, just Herald of Judgment I think is enough. Figment of Tenacity. This is, if you want to run 8 Figments, this is typically where you get it, or 8 Angels, this is where you go. It's fine. Like, half the time, most of the time actually, Figment of Judgment is just a vanilla Angel. It's just vanilla Ward 4. I'm going to take the value and I'm happy with it. And Tenacity will probably often end up being that. There's just no spikes. There aren't the same spikes that Judgment has, where it really can just like turn a game. It really just has some awkward play patterns of you send a Herald, it hits, so you fetch Figment of Tenacity, and then Dominate is on your second Herald when your first Herald is already hit, so you're already doing the thing. The only way that really works is if you send a Herald with Dominate that they want to block out on like turn 0. You can send a Herald with Dominate, and then it hits, and then you fetch Figment of Tenacity, and your second Herald gets Dominate. That's like the best case for this, and then it helps closing games. But it just kind of like doesn't do enough, whereas Judgment, like in the games where Judgment matters, it's huge. It is huge. And Tenacity is like, I don't feel like we have a ton of issues closing games. And if we've already hit with a Dominate Herald on turn 0, I'm not super worried about hitting with a second one. It's nice, but it's not the same as Judgment working. So it's just not enough. It's more often than not, it's kind of vanilla, and Judgment, when it's not vanilla, is very powerful. Whereas Tenacity, when Dominate matters, it's not huge. Now, that being said, it's also funny with Cry of Themis. I've thought about some endgames with Figment of Tenacity where you just pitch stack like double Warcry, and in like Aura games, you get double Warcry together, and then you flip Tenacity and swing Tenacity for 12 Dominate off the Angel ability. And that's kind of funny. That'll close some games pretty quickly, I think, especially because by that point you've typically eaten through a lot of armor. But it's that Dominate, that thought is in the back of my mind very often. Just because it's like, it's cute, it's interesting, it's something to think about if this card ever makes it in the deck. Ode to Wrath. This card has been in the deck. It was in the deck back towards Amsterdam times when Zen was really powerful and we kind of had to be a little bit more degenerate. It is a full combo piece. This is for when you have Tome of Divinity. This card is, well, Luminaris fixes it in LL, but it was for you get to play Tome, and Ode stuck around because they're not going to bother clearing Ode. But it's like you go Erudition, Wrath it, Tome, send 4 more Heralds because they all get go again because of Ode to Wrath. It's not there for the one life ping. It's there for your attack actions have go again. And that's when you have Tomes and can get above 6 cards in hand reliably, that's a very powerful line of text, especially for this deck. It hasn't seen play in a while. I know some people are kind of messing around with it in the Gravy matchup, just because your Eruditions are guaranteed to hit. and you can do weird stuff where it's like you erudition second and then you go herald into herald again or something like that. But it's just not quite there. And if you don't pair it with Herald of Erudition, you basically just you never have the cards in hand where you need this, in my opinion. The effect is still powerful and it's something to keep in mind, but it hasn't really sparked the same interest since the book burning. So yeah, Ode's a funny one, but I'm very excited to again use it in LL just because the snowball of it is crazy. So that's part 4. Part 5 is going to come out in just a little bit, and then hopefully the written primer will come out soon too. Peace.